Today is Valentine's Day, the day of love and romance and a bunch of other stuff I never really cared about or frankly even understood. But what I do understand and care about is Ninjago, and today I will be discussing and ranking all 9 couples that involve main characters and are canon. I don't really have anything else to add, so let's get started with the first ever pair at the very beginning of the show.
I named it after us. J plus Nia equals Jaya. To pull it off, we need to do it together.
Oh, I get it!
Jaya is by far the ship that has gotten the most attention and screen time, to the point where even their fan-made ship name became canon to the series. Nowadays, these two are fantastic and great for each other. It feels like these two love each other and there's actually some depth to their relationship. But it wasn't always like this. It started out pretty rough in the beginning. Like, really rough.
But what about my sister? We're saving a girl? Is she hot? Jay? I just want to know what we're getting ourselves into. Does she like blue? Back off.
That right there, my friends, is the 5th sentence that comes out of Jay's mouth. Him getting excited when Kai brings up his sister who he has never met, never even seen, doesn't know her name, and doesn't know her age. For all he knows, he could be hitting on someone 10 plus years younger than him. I guarantee the only reason Kai didn't beat the crap out of him right then and there is because he knows they're roughly the same age. If that wasn't the case, then he would be dead. That's not even to mention that Kai is concerned for Nia's safety, and all Jay can think about is how pretty she is. This is Jay's introduction scene into the show, literally one of his first 5 lines of dialogue ever. Luckily, once the show properly starts, things cool down and Jay stops acting like a creep. For the most part. The episode focused on them is actually really good, and if it weren't for this, I don't think they would have worked at all, at least not for a long time. This isn't technically Jay, but there is this one scene in Season 2. We all know Season 3 does. I might get into the love triangle one day, but today is not that day. I want to try and keep the section as short as possible, because I know it's going to be the longest of the video. So we're not going to be talking about this disaster right now. The disaster I do want to briefly mention is Season 6. Season 6 is a very odd and messy season. It's probably the only season I don't have a solid opinion on, because I just don't know how to process it. A big part of that is due to all the Jaya stuff. All I'm going to do is play a few clips, all of which can be described with the word, ew.
Nia made it clear there was no way we'd ever end up together, but I know for a fact from seeing my future that we do. Maybe a wish is what it takes. Maybe this is how she falls for me. Cliff Gordon's Handbook to Wooing Women? Chapter 1. Women love mystery. When talking to them, less is more.
The first 5 years of Jay and Nia's relationship is mostly terrible, but after that, after Season 6, things get better. Things get a lot better. They just become good, a nice healthy couple. And then the 11-minute era comes along and changes everything. It gives them way more chemistry, they spend more time together, they seem to care about each other more. It gives them something to do outside of the ninja stuff in the form of dancing, which comes up in the show multiple times. It's great! For me, these seasons are what makes these two such a great couple. They actually feel like they belong together and aren't just being put together because of boy and girl. It's fantastic, and of course, everything Dragon Rising has been doing with them is also great. It's more drama, but the difference is that it's unrealistic drama, so the writers can actually write it. Season 3 especially has been fantastic, and dare I say the best Jaya season. Nah, that title would probably go to Seabound. But DR3 is a close second. While it took a while to get here, Jaya is fantastic and sets a fantastic bar for what couples in the show should be. S tier.
Of all the things, brother, don't let anger cloud your judgment. Don't tell me what to do. You're no sensei, and you've never been one.
The only other romance plot in the original 2-season run of the show is, I guess, the love triangle between Wu, Garmadon, and Misako. It's not really a love triangle though. Well, it is, but we only ever see it through flashbacks. And it's nothing special. Just your standard boring story of 2 friends, or in this case brothers, both being in love with a girl, the 2 of them fighting over her, and in the end, the girl getting with one of the guys. Though what is fairly interesting is that Misako ends up with Garmadon, the bad guy, not Wu. I feel like typically with this stuff, the girl would choose the good guy. The reason she chooses Garmadon over Wu, though, is because Master Chin intercepts a letter Wu sent, and Garmadon re-signs his name on it, making her believe he wrote it and not Wu. If it wasn't for that, then she would have chosen Wu. Another nice thing about this is that Misako doesn't drive the brothers apart. They're still friends after she gets with Garmadon, which is really nice. I always hate it whenever two characters fight over a love interest.
Romantic relationships make no sense to me.
So that's all fine and good, but it's very clear that Misako still had feelings for Wu, even in the modern day. When Misako was introduced in the second season, she and Wu have a little thing going on. She's still married to Garmadon, by the way, and they do this in front of Lloyd, her son. I'm not sure whether I want to put this in C or D tier because it's not the worst thing ever, but it's also not very good, like, at all. It even gets dug back into the main plot for a minute in season 4, where Wu and Garmadon finally fight over the letter. Wu, wise old Master Wu, getting worked up over an old crush. D tier.
We are not so different, are we? We are compatible?
Yes. Yes, we are.
We finally get to the first couple that isn't painful to watch, and that's Zane and Pixel, the two robots. Season 3 is the Zane focus season, and because of that, they decided to introduce another robot character whose sole purpose is to be Zane's love interest. They're pretty cute, have some nice dialogue, and even do a little dance. Wait, hold up, this is the wrong season 3. Rebooted is a Zane focus season, and because of that, they decided to introduce another robot character whose main role is to be Zane's love interest. Because of course no one is allowed to be single, not even Ninjoids.
Oh, robot love.
They're fine. Well, actually they're pretty good in this first season. They help each other out and are pretty cute here and throughout the rest of the series. My issue though is that, like I said, Pixel's primary purpose is to be Zane's girlfriend. That is her role in the story. That is the reason for her introduction. She wasn't introduced because of anything she could bring to the show. She was introduced so that Zane could have someone to crush on. Which, to be fair, it would be weird if he were to get with a human, but there's a simple solution to that. Just don't give him a love interest. I don't see why he needed one. Him immediately falling in love with the first other robot he sets his eyes on is weird. And the fact that in Pixel's very first scene she's immediately delegated to Zane's love interest is kind of gross. At least Nia was introduced as her own character with her own personality before Jay started creeping on her. Other than that though, they're pretty cute. I like the banter they have in some of the later seasons, and she absolutely brought out the best in Zane's character in the newest installment of the show. Though I'm not all that invested in them as a couple. Unlike Jay and Nia, it still kind of feels like they're together just because, and not because they fit together as boyfriend and girlfriend. So for that, and the gross introduction, C tier.
She's the master of amber, power of absorption. She can emulate the power of anyone she's touched.
You're telling me we're not related? Oh boy, here we go again.
You thought Pixel's introduction was bad? Well, at least she got to have one line of dialogue before Zane got all love eyes. Skylor doesn't even get that. The first time we ever see her is through Kai's perspective, where he starts gawking at her 0.2 seconds after seeing her for the very first time. And then after that, her first proper scene centers around Kai and Karloff fighting over her. Great! Just great! And just for good measure, there's also some more of those creepy early Ninjago shenanigans thrown in there.
It's Skylor's room, and it looks like she's training. Let me see.
This is an invasion of privacy.
Though, you know, while that does suck, the show does give Skylor stuff to do and a natural character outside of Kai. Unlike Pixel, her entire existence doesn't center around him, at least not yet. Though like Pixel and Zane, after all the introductions, they are actually pretty good in the season. I don't mind them at all, and there was some potential here. A lot of that is again due to the fact that Skylor actually has a character with depth but in a background outside of Kai, which makes them game together feel a lot less one-sided and like these are two people taking interest in each other and falling in love. They have a good dynamic here in season 4 and they work really well together, and I think if the show took the time in future seasons to properly expand and flesh out their relationship, then they could have been really great. But this season is where they peak, unfortunately. After this, these two barely interact. The next time there is a romantic interaction between these two is a whole 5 seasons later, at the end of season 9, and then one more at the end of season 10. It then takes another 5 seasons for Skylor to even make another appearance, where the relationship is finally addressed, and I do quite like the scene. Kai tries hitting on her, and she blows up at him because of how little effort he's been putting into their relationship. And from the sounds of it, they haven't even really been dating at all, which actually isn't surprising considering how bad Kai is at this. He apparently didn't even have her number.
Skylor? I called her. You had her number?
She says she's open to them talking about the relationship status after they save the world, but the thing is, that never happens, at least not that we see. There's potential here, I see great potential here, which is a pretty rare thing for me. If the show had just let them share more screen time and talk things out, then this could be a fantastic relationship. Going into this video, I was expecting to be more negative during this section, and say that at this point, the best thing for them to do is to break these two up. But after rewatching that crystallize scene, the fact that they addressed the problem with these two is really impressive, especially for this season, and gives me hope that there's a chance for them to work out. I'm not against them breaking up, that could definitely still work and be a great lesson about how not all relationships work out in the end, but I would genuinely like to see them bring Skylor back and have her and Kai work things out. I would love to see what Dragon's Rising could do with her. So while I do enjoy this pairing more than I thought I did, it still has a bunch of problems that need to be resolved, so C tier.
Princess, I thought you were kidnapped. I was trying to save you.
Was that what that was? From my vantage, it looked like I was the one saving you.
Season 8 we meet Ninjago's royal family, which has definitely been a thing for the past 7 seasons, trust me. And Lloyd falls in love with the princess, Princess Harumi. Here we go with another stupid love at first sight plot. At least this one is slightly more interesting with the love interest being royalty, and Harumi's parents not being directly tied into the main plot, like Pixel's and Skylor's. So there could be some interesting dynamics between Lloyd, who is a ninja and whose life is almost constantly in danger, and the king and queen who might not want their daughter dating someone who could put her in that position or something. This could be different and unique for the show. There's some potential here, and I'm actually kind of interested to see where they take things. Oh, that ain't good. But this is Ninjago, I'm sure everyone's fine, at least the important named characters.
The Emperor and Empress? Where is Hutchins? Did they...
I'm sorry, Princess. They didn't make it.
Okay then, never mind. From there, Lloyd and Harumi bond more, and this seems like just a typical dumb Ninjago love story until they reach the third Oni mask, the last thing the Sons of Garmadon need to resurrect Garmadon, Lloyd's dad, from the dead. This is where the princess mask slips off. Harumi screws up and Lloyd puts together that she's the quiet one, the leader of the SOG. This twist is really good, a bit predictable, yes, but still good. My favorite part about it is what it does to Lloyd. Of course, this completely breaks him and he's heartbroken, and worst of all, Harumi loves it. She's been playing him this entire time, and now that the act is over, she's just having fun with it. And yes, I just copy and pasted my own script from a previous video, because it would save me a bit of time. Lloyd and Harumi aren't your typical couple for obvious reasons, that being, of course, Harumi never actually loved Lloyd and was manipulating him the entire time, so because of that twist, I got to rank this pairing fairly high. It takes the show's usual shtick and flips it on its head, uses it to its advantage, and makes these 2 seasons 2 of the show's greatest. I don't got a lot more to say. It's good. It's great. I made a 26-minute video on why it's so good last month. So we can go ahead and move right along. No, I don't want to. I really don't want to. I'm tired of talking about this stupid season. Please, no. So, the 214th table message this season sends to kids is the promotion of incest. In Season 9, there's a scene where Harumi pledges full loyalty to Garmadon, and he accepts her as his daughter, a replacement for Lloyd, which would mean that Lloyd is now technically Lloyd's sister. This detail is one of many things Crystallize forgot about, and therefore went ahead with the retcon of Harumi actually having feelings for Lloyd this entire time, and them pretty much being back together by the end of the season. Nice. Great. Even ignoring all of that, This is still a story about Lloyd turning around and going back to his abuser for no good reason. Not that any reason would be good enough for that, but still.
Romantic relationships make no sense to me. Especially this romantic relationship.
F tier. Thanks, Crystallized.
How? By boring him to death with stories about Harumi?
Oh, what are you gonna do? Fetch his slippers?
We're still talking about Lloyd because he gets 2 love interests back to back, because being single is a crime. This time around he gets Akita, and if you're familiar with my channel, you probably expect me to hate on this ship, because there isn't anything romantic between these two until literally their final scene together, where Lloyd gets a kiss that comes seemingly out of nowhere. But no, I actually really like this one. This entire video I've been complaining about the love at first sight trope, and Lloyd and Akita is the first, and as far as we know, only couple in the show that isn't love at first sight and is actually realistic. These two are great. I talked about how great this plot is in my Lloyd video last month, so I don't want to repeat myself too much here. This is a story about 2 people who have become very closed off and reserved after traumatic events, and with each other's help, they slowly warm up to each other and open up. I love that these two bond and become friends before the idea of a romantic relationship is ever even considered to be an option. This isn't the writers throwing away all the development and degrading Akita to simply a love interest at the last minute. This is 2 people realistically falling in love with each other over the course of an extended period of time. This is what I want to see more of, and they could have been really high up on the list if it wasn't for one thing. Akita never appears again after this. This scene is the last time we ever see Akita, which means there's absolutely no follow-up to this arc. And because of that, I just can't place them any higher than B tier.
Good luck breaking through that.
They don't have a chance, not with your powers, Gio.
Now moving on to our Dragon's Rising exclusive couples. The first one is Cole and Gio. Cole is the only main character who somehow didn't get a love interest in the original show. I really have no idea how he escaped it, but he did, and now Dragon's Rising finally said screw it and gave him a boyfriend. Cole and Gio aren't able to explicitly be in a relationship for unfortunate reasons, but at the same time the show hasn't been very subtle with their affection either. I like them, they're awesome, but because of how little we see of them, I just don't have much to say. We don't see the first time they meet and how they fell in love, and don't have any of the typical couple stuff other pairs get. But even still, the little we do get is really cute. Gio trying to pick up on Cole's baking hobby is so sweet, and I'm just really glad Cole was able to avoid the same unfortunate fate almost every other character before him fell victim to. A tier.
Sweet, right?
Yes! All the yeses!
See? She gets it! She's clearly the smartest one.
Now for our first new gen couple, Wildfire and Roby. I'm not entirely sure if this one falls into love at first sight category, because while Wildfire doesn't go all love-eyed when she first sees Roby, or vice versa, she does quickly develop a crush on him. And I don't have a problem with it. It's quicker than I personally like things to be, but it's not so fast that it makes me roll my eyes and feel disgusted, like with Zane or Kai. It's at a pace I can get behind, and I like how two-sided it is. Both of them seem to like each other right off the bat, and both make efforts to appeal to each other. I like that it's gender swapped. This is the first couple on the list where the girl is the one following and watching trying to get the guy. Giving Wildfire a love interest was a fantastic way to continue her arc and gives us some of her best scenes.
She might as well be wearing a t-shirt that says, I heart Roby.
Having a crush is the most normal thing I've ever seen her do.
Until Season 3. In Season 3, Roby completely takes over Wildfire's character. Majority of her scenes are either her thinking about him or being with him, and pretty much all of her notable moments revolve around him. I do not like that the relationship becomes such a big part of her character in this new season. It would be more okay if Roby was a main character, then that way the two of them could always be around each other, but with Roby being a side character, to get these two together involves ripping Wildfire away from the main plot, sometimes for multiple episodes. With that said though, they still get a solid B.
It's a good look. I'm not saying it's not a good look. Mine's just cooler.
That's subjective.
Exactly. My gi color is subjectively cooler than yours.
And finally, our newest couple of the show is Frak and Sora. And really, they aren't even a couple yet. It's only been established that Frak has a crush on Sora, but I'm including them because this is still a romance plot, and definitely one of the better ones. I've already made a video about this plot back in April, right when we first learned of it, but since then we've gotten some more scenes and my opinions have changed quite a bit. In that original video, I said that the best thing to happen would be for Sora to reject Frak and it be a lesson about how not all relationships work out. And while that is still a lesson I would love to see in the show, it being done with these two could jeopardize the arguably even better story that's probably already happening. Let's be real, these two are endgame. As much as I want Wolfcat, the writers are not going to have Frak be crushing on Sora for this long only to get rejected in the end. I love the dynamic these two had in Season 3. Sora does not like Frak and they bicker all the time. It's honestly really refreshing.
Bibliology, please.
Can we not bicker?
Do you even know it's subjective?
Will you two knock it off?
No, it's ta-da. Yeah, it's ta-da. You go up.
This could be a fantastic slow burn love story with Sora coming around to liking Frak and then eventually falling in love with him, which I assume is where they're going. Also, since almost every single other couple has been a love at first sight situation, and the feelings have been mutual between both people, we've never gone to see someone be a wingman for someone else. The closest we've gone is that one scene from Season 8. We've never had a situation where one person has to actually put in effort to get the person. I would love to see Wildfire and maybe further down the line Aaron be Frak's wingman as he tries to work up the courage to tell Sora. The fact that in this show's 15-year-long run, this is the first time we're ever getting a plot like this is ridiculous, and it has so much potential. We're in completely new territory here, and it's awesome. I'm surprisingly excited to see more of them in Season 4, and I'm excited to see where this plot goes. For right now, they're going into B tier, but we're only at the very early stages of their relationship, so it's very possible for them to move up in the future. Or, I guess, down. And that's everyone! And yes, as you've noticed, Jaya is by far the best. I had to avoid saying the word best in this section because I didn't want to spoil the rest of the video. It makes sense though, they've been around the longest, and since they're both main characters, you don't have to go out of your way to have scenes with them. But that shouldn't be an excuse as to why other couples such as Zane and Skylor aren't nearly as fleshed out. If you want me to actually be invested in these relationships, then you've got to show me why they should be together other than boy and girl. Two characters being different genders is not a reason for them to be a couple.
Robot love.
There is potential, like I talked about with Kai and Skylor, but the show has barely made any effort to make me care. It's very similar to how I have a hard time picturing Ninja in just casual mundane scenarios. Jaya is the only one that I really care about because I can see why these two love each other. They've given me reasons to be invested. You know what I want? I want to see in Season 4, Wildfire confronts Frak about his crush, since I'm pretty sure she knows, and he tells her why he likes Sora, gives actual reasons. The show is obsessed with exposition, so exposition to me why Frak likes Sora. Overall, Dragon's Rising has been handling the romance side of the show really well. Cole and Geo, Jay and Nia, Wildfire and Roby, and we'll have to see with Sora and Frak. They've also had really good restraint when it comes to putting characters in relationships. The fact that it took 2 whole seasons for the idea of someone liking Sora to come up at all is awesome. And it took a whole season and a half for there to even be a romantic plot in the show at all. And I do though hope that somehow characters remain single. I really don't understand why everyone needs to be in a romantic relationship. And in Season 4, we got our only 2 remaining single characters being put into a group together. And one of them just finished up their big 3-season long arc and is open for something new. I'm not going to say I'm worried, but I would be lying if I said there wasn't some part of me that's concerned. I'm not going to get into that in this video though, I'll only talk about it if it happens. That's all I got for this one though. Do you agree with my rankings? And with that, really appreciate it if you took 2 seconds to like and subscribe. Bye. The reason she chooses Garmadon. Of course, no one. Because of course, no one is allowed to be single. Not even Ninjoids. Because of course, no one is allowed to be single. Not even Ninjoids. Because of course, no one is allowed to be single. Not even Ninjoids. Because of course, no one is allowed to be single. Not even Ninjoids. Okay. I'll see which one of those I like the best. Unlike Jane here, and Lloyd falls in love with the princess, Princess Hu. So the 214th terrible message this season sends to kids is the So the 214th terrible message this season sends to kids is the promotion. So the 214th terrible message. So the 214th terrible message this season sends to kids is the promotion. So the 214th terrible message this season sends to kids is the promotion. Motion.